Hello everyone, and welcome to this webinar on end of the year reporting for funded courses. My name is Ash and I work as the customer engagement specialist. I also have my colleague Keith as one of the panelists today to answer any of your questions that you may have during the session. All right, so the agenda for today is to help you basically run reports to check your courses and units, the learners that you've enrolled this year and who have continued from the last year, to check their course enrollments, to check the unit enrollment values like their outcome codes, start and end dates, and other key funded data, plus how to complete your enrollments for the end of the year reporting and the things that you have to change before you submit your data to the government. We also will be running some data integrity reports to check your NAT 60, which is your unit file, NAT 80, your learner file, 120 your enrollment file, and 130 the qualification file, because these are the four main NAT files that you'll be submitting. And most of the areas that come is kind of around the unit enrollment, the client, and the qualification files. So I'll be concentrating on those four files, and then I'll also be showing you how to run exports to submit to the government. So I'll quickly log into Wisenet. All right, before I go ahead and start running these reports, I'm just going to go to some of these tabs to show you what data we'll be pulling in the reports that I'll be running from the reports wizard. The courses and units, because it's funded data reporting, you may be already reporting to the government every month. So you may not be having a lot of errors because it would have been picked up in the monthly reporting if you did. But when we are running any course and unit reports, when I'm talking about the fields, it's all under the courses here. So I'm just going to quickly pick up a random course in here. You just have to ensure the recognition status, the VET flag, and the nominal hours is set correctly in here. And of course, when you would have set up your courses, you would have imported it from TGA. So none of these issues would be there except for the nominal hours. You have to key that in manually. We don't bring that in from TGA because it could be different for different colleges. In terms of the VET flag, unless and until it is set to yes, that course will not be reported to the government in your NAT files. So whatever courses you're reporting for this year, ensure the VET flag is set to yes. Same way with the unit of competencies. Obviously with your units and competencies that you're delivering that are core and elective, you would have marked them as core and elective. So pick up a random unit. I don't recommend you checking every unit, because if it's correct for one, it's obviously going to be correct for all. As you can see, there are some of the units that are missing nominal hours. So obviously if it's missing nominal hours at the unit level, your unit offers and the unit enrollments may be missing those hours as well. So you have to ensure those hours are cascaded properly. And again, as I said, if it's missing and if you've been reporting this unit for the entire year, you may have already come across this issue and you may have fixed it. But it's always good to go back and check if you're reporting the correct hours, because that's what you're going to be paid on. So just ensure the correct hours are going in. If you can't find the hours, go into action, go edit, and put in the right hours depending on your training and assessment strategy. So go back and refer to your task document and put in the actual hours in here. All right, when you import the unit, the field of education comes in as well. But in some cases, as you can see, the field of education could be missing if you've added the unit manually. If that's the case, always open up training.gov. Copy the unit, go into the National Register of VET, find the unit, and scroll down on the page to find the field of education identifier. Go back to Wisenet and update it in here. You can either paste it or look for it. It'll automatically pick up the code as well as the description for the correct field of education. Put in whatever is the hours and go save. Now, once you've done this, obviously you're changing these things at the unit level. It has to be cascaded to your enrollments. So what we've done is to make it easier, we have kind of, come up with a bulk update way. So once you've updated these, go into the unit offer. You don't have to update it to everything, so just pick up the 2017 or the continuing offer. You may have to do it one by one. So I'll show you two different ways of doing it. You can either pick and choose your unit offers and set defaults in here. So you can quickly update the supervised hours to 40, which will automatically cascade it to all the unit offers as well as unit enrollments that are linked to this particular unit. All right, this is one way of doing it. From within the unit, you go into unit offers on the left and you're bulk updating the hours. Another way of doing it is click into the course offer itself, go into unit offers. So let's say you've had 3 or 4 units that are missing the hours. So you can pick and choose those units in bulk and then go into the action and cascade unit hours. It does the same thing, but it automatically cascades the hours from the unit to all the unit enrollments and the unit offers for you. All right. You can either set defaults from the unit or you can cascade unit hours from within the course offer. It's up to you to fix this issue. Field of education, you don't have to worry about it because it's just at the unit level and it'll automatically get picked up in your Nat 60 when you're reporting it to the government. All right, the next bit is the learners. So let's go into the learners. With the learner profile, you have to ensure all the personal details are completed. When it's a funded student, obviously, depending on the state that you're getting funded, you may have the appropriate numbers in here. Ensure those numbers have been keyed in. If it's an apprenticeship student, then the app ID has to be put in. The street address, postal, and the permanent address are important as well. And then the demographic data. Every field is mandatory except for the ones that are stated as state only. So in this case, the occupation identifier and the industry of employment is only mandatory for Victoria. Same with the prior education identifier, again, important only for Victoria. But all other fields are mandatory for all states. So ensure you've completed all the fields in here. If anything is missing, always look for the action button at the top right. Edit the demographic or the personal data that you're changing and key in the appropriate details. And save. Any questions still here? All right. Now, we looked at the courses and units, we looked at the learners. Now, going into the main bit, the course enrollments. So against every course enrollment, there's a field called the course commencement date, which gets reported. So the course commencement date is the first unit activity date. You wouldn't be able to edit that manually. That's picked up from the unit that you kind of delivered first. So that's the date it picks up. So it's the first unit activity date. If you see the commencement date before the start date, then obviously there's an issue. So you have to go back and check your data why the student commenced the unit even before commencing the course. Check for the nominal end date. If you've issued qualifications, then of course, if you would have issued within Wisenet, then Wisenet would prompt you for the qualification issued flags and the date issued. But if you've issued it outside Wisenet, you have to ensure if the student has completed a full qualification, you put the tick on for the qual issued. and the actual date issued. Then update the study reason and the commencing course identifier. With the commencing course identifier, obviously any student that is continuing into the next year has to be updated with a number 4. So I'll show you in a second how to bulk update all those students to a number 4. But for now, you have to ensure these 2 fields are mandatory and they've been updated. And of course, if you have superseded qualifications or if you have apprenticeship students and all that, you'll have more information in the Reg ID, the previous course identifier. And if you have Smart and Skilled or ACT Skilled Capital contracts, then you're going to have an individual contract ID and an expiry date. So depending on the state that you're being funded, you're obviously going to have more fields to check. Then you go all the way down and save if you have edited anything. To bulk update the commencing course identifiers, come back into the learners, click on the enrollment update wizard on the left. Then choose the wizard called commencing course identifier update. So depending on the state that you're being funded in, so we go Victoria, you may want to just choose all the current students who have a start date in this year and who are continuing into the next year. So let's say, you run 12-month courses, so obviously any student who started from Feb will be continuing into the next year. So anybody, from that date to this date, with the commencing course ID of 3, apply criteria. So it'll automatically pick up all those students who are continuing into the next year. So obviously, depending on the offer that you've created, you'll know how many students are, continuing into the next year. So you can just pick and choose just those course offers. Go into action and bulk update. And change all those students to a number 4, which is continuing enrollment. And you have to do this only for your end of the year reporting. So do this after you've submitted your December data, because if you do it now, then obviously your December data will have a validation error saying that the student's already continuing. So this is only done for your end of the year reporting, just to tell the system that all these students are continuing into the next year. So go 4 and perform update. Yeah, so the 4 is for your end of the year reporting. So you may be funded, correct. So leave it as a 3 until December, because it's funded data. You're obviously sending your reports to the government every month. So December would be your monthly reporting. So in your monthly reporting, it'll still show as 3. But once you complete your monthly reporting, before you do your Jan 15 end of the year reporting, you need to change it to a 4 to let the department know that they're continuing students into the next year. All right. So Gaurav, if you have a question, if the student has continued the course from 2016 to 17 and will further continue in 18, then the start date would be year 2016. You're right. So that's okay. I mean, you can still have it as 16 in the COR start date, which is your course commencement date. And the student would have been changed to a 4 in 2017. You don't have to do anything to 18 because it's still reported as a 4. All right. You don't have to change those students who are doing a 2-year course. They would have already been changed to a 4. Bill, you're right. This applies for fee-for-service international students as well. You have to change it to a 4, but for fee-for-service, the reporting is not until, the end of Feb, and you report to NCVR. But for funded, the reason we are having the webinar now is because we are going to close for Christmas as well. So we may not be there to help you at the beginning of the year next year. We'll be, back by the 8th of Jan, but if you're wanting to submit your data in that time period, so we thought we'll have the webinar now. But yeah, you're right. Even for fee-for-service students, it will be the same changes. You'll have to change it to a 4. All right, going ahead with the session. So that's with your course enrollment fields. Now quickly going into the unit enrollment fields. So at the unit enrollment level, what's very important is your start and end dates for the units and the outcome. Without the unit having a valid outcome, it's not going to report to the government in your NAT files. So ensure all the students who have completed the units have a valid outcome, of whether it's competent, not yet competent, RPL or credit transfer. And if they're continuing enrollments, then use a 70 for continuing enrollment. So you can update the units in bulk, choose all, action, bulk update unit enrollments. If the student is continuing in all units, then choose all and put the outcome to a 70, which is continuing enrollment. The 70 academic pass AP is only for South Australia, so don't get confused, it's the same code, but for all other states, what you'll be using is the continuing enrollment 17. And then go apply changes. So all the unit enrollments will be reported in the NAT file with an outcome of 17. You can even pick and choose and change just a couple units, but when the student is completing a unit, always remember to update the end date, because it's funded reporting, you have to complete the end date. You can complete these things in bulk. So if you go into the course offer itself, the two different ways of updating the results and the dates, you can do it either through the unit offer page, enrollments against every unit, pick and choose the student, go into the action and gradebook unit update, which kind of lists out all the students for you. You can quickly change the start and end date and the outcome for every student. That's one way of doing it. The other way is when you're in the course offer enrollments, you can pick and choose your students and bulk update the unit enrollments. And you can update any start and end dates or outcomes or any values as required. All right, open to any questions on unit enrollments. Lisa's asked, is the 70 for after December reporting as well? No, Lisa, you can start using 70 if it's continuing enrollment, because last year we had an outcome called 90, which was enrolled, and 70 was used for end of the year reporting. But the department got rid of the 90, and since then every student that's continuing enrollment is put to a 70, so you can start using 70. From next year, if you would have attended the webinar yesterday, you would have heard me talking about the 85, the not yet started outcome. So they've introduced a new 85 from next year, so you could probably use an 85 if the student has not yet started, and the 70 for continuing enrollment. But this year, everybody is put to a 70, which is continuing enrollment. All right, Rose has asked me questions. Some students only provide a PO box. What can I put in permanent address so I don't have a NAT error? That's a tricky question, because we definitely need a physical address for permanent address. Otherwise, it gives you an error. The only other way of fixing this is, it's very hacky, but you wouldn't get a validation error when you do this, because the government kind of accepts not specified. We have it even in our resource center, Rose. So if you go in, try putting this in and let me know what comes up. So when you edit your permanent address, for your street number, the street, and just put in not specified. So just type in not specified in here. So that term is kind of accepted in the validation file. So try that. And of course, even with a PO box, you might have like the suburb and the state and the postcode. So use that. But for the street number and the street, try the not specified and see how you go, and let me know. Just raise a ticket and I'll help you further. Thank you. Thanks, Sarah. So Sarah is one of our clients from Nova Skills. So she recommends that, a hyphen works as well for the number. So try putting a hyphen in the street number and it works. Thank you. Okay, now before I kind of go ahead with the reports and everything, what I'm going to do is just take you into our resource center. I might have it already open here. Okay, so go into learn.wisenet.co, and on the main page on the right notices, we have added the AVETMISS end of the year data check article. So click on that. So probably you've already looked at it, because we kind of released it mid-November this year. So we've given a timeline of the things that you need to do, and also put in like the holiday periods. So whatever I went through today on how to check and everything, so there are different reports that you can run to check all these details. So when you want to check your courses and units or learners or course enrollments or updating outcomes, so we have given you some article links on how to bulk update or update the outcome per learner and all those different things. So just go through these articles here. And we've also given some quick article links on how to finalize a learner, generate credentials, and update those quality sheet flags and data sheet. So complete these different data checks before you go ahead and run the data integrity reports. And because it's funded data, as I said, you may have already fixed all these details every month when you get validation errors, so you may not have many. But yeah, run these different reports. Today, I'll be running the main 448 report for you just to show you what it picks up and what it looks like, just to make it easier for you to run reports. And then you can go back and refer to this article and run report by report to find the different errors in terms of your subject file, the learner file, enrollment, and the qualification file. And also we'll go ahead and look at when our offices are closed. As I said, we would be off from the 23rd until the 8th. It'll be appreciated if you could please log in any support tickets by Wednesday that week, that is the 28th, just giving us a little bit of time to help you fix those errors and things like that. Otherwise, we are back on the 8th. So we still have a week's time to help you after that. And of course, STA opens all their end of the year reporting by the 2nd of Jan. So you can start reporting and validating your files by the 2nd of Jan for end of the year reporting. All right, so let me go back to reports. So depending on the report numbers that we have given you in the article, just come back into the reports wizard, type in the report number. So as I said, I'll run the NAT 120 data integrity report, which is the 448. So when you're running data integrity reports, I always recommend using a date filter. So you can run two sets of reports, one for students who started this year and the other for students who are continuing from the last year or even previous years, If you do have students going for 2 or 3 year courses, then it's better you run these reports in calendar years just to make it easier for you to check the data and go back to the course offers and bulk update things. So I'm going to go with anybody who started. So the COR stands for course offer registration, which is the actual student's enrollment start date this year. In the filter, if you're looking for any particular fields, let's say, for example, you're looking for where the student does not have a commencing course ID. So if you're looking for particular fields, you can go, all right, show me where the COR commencing course identifier is empty. And you could have extra fields in here. And you can go in and say, all right, where the skill capital, if you're doing for ACT, is empty again, or the study reason is empty, so you've not put in a study reason or a commencing course identifier, and go generate report. You can even run this data to Excel, just gives you a CSV raw data in Excel, making it easier for you to filter and stuff, or you can generate the report and see the data in a layout report. So what this will do is pick up the student. It will repeat the student per unit code because that's the way it's reported in your NAT 120. There's one line per student unit enrollment. So, but when you're checking for like commencing course IDs or study reason, because it's a course enrollment field, you don't have to change it 4 times. It's only changed once and it'll automatically update it. So you can see that, the student does not have a commencing course identifier or even an outcome or study reason or anything. So it's color coded. It's very easy to find out what's missing and what are the mandatory fields for 120. And in the previous section, you could also have like more filters. You can have combination of things that are empty. So it gives you all those different students that are at risk. So you can go back and fix the data. All our data integrity reports work similarly. So choose the report, add in filters. If you don't want to add in filters, feel free to do so. You don't have to have filters, just run it to Excel, and then you can add a filter to find any blank columns and things like that. Any questions? All right, I'm just going to show you one of the things. So let's say the outcome code is empty as well. It probably is going to pick up the same students because we saw that it was empty. Once you generate the report, the next step is, of course, exporting it in a particular format that's easy for you to work with. So just run it to Excel or PDF and export the report. And once you have your course offer code, you can go back, look for the course offer code and bulk update these things. So when it comes to the course enrollment values, just like the way I showed you how to bulk update the unit enrollment values, you can do it the same way. So go back into the enrollment, choose all, and bulk update the course enrollments. And you can update any study reason or commencing course IDs and all those different things for your students in bulk. Now for the last bit. So if you go into the reports and exports on the left, click on AVETMISS export, choose state, depending on the state that you have to complete your reporting for, end of the year reporting. Choose, leave the collection year as 2017, go next. It'll automatically give you what you need to report. So pick your contracts, put in an export email, so you can email you the export files and go start. So you'll be doing this at the beginning of Jan next year. Then click on view exports and you'll see the export files. Just download the files and upload it into your state training authority site. So it could be like, if it's New South Wales, obviously you have to go through NCVO and all that, but for all other states, you can directly just send it to SVTS or DET or any of your state systems, validate it. And if you have any issues with the errors, come back into our resource center. Most of the errors will be found just by searching for it. We also have like state specific errors in here. So let's say you've got an SVTS error or an NSW reject ID or a DET error. So click into the article link and it'll open up all the errors by NAT files. So just search and it'll automatically pick up the error and how to fix for you. And if you feel like it's too complicated, you don't know how to fix the error, feel free to just log a ticket to us so one of us could help you. Great, that's kind of what I wanted to show you today. So open to any questions now. Feel free to ask your questions into the Q&A box or in your chat and I'll be happy to answer. Thank you very much for attending the webinar today. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you. $85 is a national outcome code, so I don't think New South Wales is going to change the 00. We've not had any communication from them. So I guess for New South Wales, it will still continue to be a 00 unless they've communicated that, they're going to completely remove 00 and use 85, the national code. 85 was introduced like for NCVO reporting and stuff instead of like the 90 that was there previously. They've come up with this new code called Not Yet Started, which is not a mandatory code. If people want to use it for their reporting, they can, but it's not mandatory. So I wouldn't say like, for New South Wales, you'll be using 85 because we've not got any communication. You'll still continue using 00. All right. Thank you very much, guys, for attending. Thanks for your time. And yeah, see you in the next webinar. If we don't talk again, have a great festive season and Merry Christmas. Thank you. Bye.